Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
How to get more revenue in digital marketing? It's hard today because of level of competition. 10 years ago, I didn't consider a lot customers journey, buying persona, and many other parameters because competition was low. I set up Google ads, Facebook ads, many other marketing campaigns without considering important metrics. Today, I can't because cost per click costs 100 times more. I paid like 5 cents. Today I need to pay $10, for one click. SEO is overwhelming as well. Any digital marketing channel is overwhelming. That's why I'm so excited to discuss this topic with Ari sorry, man. I can't pronounce it. Please, it's better if you tell it.
Yeah, Aristomenis Capogeannis. I
Oh,
knew it.
nice.
It's too hard, but Ari, much easier. Thanks, Anatoly. It's great to be here.
Yeah, after this introduction, I forget about how to pronounce it the right way. So, anyway, Ari, before we start, just tell more about yourself, experience, background, and why you pay attention to getting revenue in digital marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. You really summed it up there. This used to be for the early adopters in digital marketing, it was a complete playground, right? I mean, we were bidding on competitors' names and things like that, and reaping the rewards from it for unsuspecting people that just weren't up to speed at that point in time. Now, fast forward today, everybody knows, oh, I have to have paid media, I have to have paid search, I have to have a presence in particular platforms if I have budget to do so. And then as you get into the massive organizations, you're bidding against each other if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So where I'm at right now, I run the enterprise revenue marketing team at NVIDIA. I came in through Cumulus Networks. They acquired us to start a big push in AI in the data center. At Cumulus Networks, I was running our demand generation and inside sales program. It was really the best format if you want lockstep between inbound marketing lead flow and then inbound, outbound actions on the sales side. Tough to do in most orgs because the SDRs want to be account managers and future sales leaders. So if they're pigeonholed in what they think is a marketing role, it gets difficult. But my whole background is essentially demand generation, growth marketing, and digital marketing. Early financial cloud SaaS at Intact pre-acquisition from Sage, all the way through to NVIDIA now, where we're trying to hit the wins in a massive organization. We touch B2B, B2C, developer, and a massive portfolio of offerings within there. Very complicated.
Nice. Love it. Awesome. Okay, you mentioned about AI. It's hard to avoid this topic today. That was simple yesterday, hard today, impossible tomorrow. AI is a must-have in regular routine. So let's talk more about that. I see when people don't use AI in the right way, they usually create generic answers, submit them in their content, but it's not unique. Even if you get 100% with some tools, but the context is 0%, people can find totally the same content. And once I watched how Elon Musk asked some questions on ChatGPT, and he was specific as maximum as possible. He submitted long question and got this great answer. Can you tell how to use ChatGPT or any other AI tools in the right way? Because your company is going to adopt, my company is uniting with AI tools today. So I think, it's important to know how to use it in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. This week was our flagship GTC conference, and Ilya, one of the co-founders from OpenAI, had a fireside chat with our CEO, Jensen. I highly recommend looking up that on-demand video. It's fantastic. It's really telling about where we're headed AI-wise. It's, as Jensen puts it, the iPhone moment of AI, essentially. Up until now, similar with the digital marketing topic in general that we're talking about, you had to be schooled in these tactics. To be a data-driven marketer, you had to be somebody that understood numbers, got numbers, wanted to work through things like puzzles. ChatGPT and the AI solutions open that up for all the non-programmers, for anybody, essentially. The problem, and you hit it on the nail on the head, if both you and I in two different organizations decide to write a blog post around a particular product offering and we're competitors, and we ask ChatGPT the same thing, we're going to get the same answer. We're going to post the same two blog posts, and there's no differentiation whatsoever. Another person summed it up to me like this, where I said, hey, there are people out there whose jobs, they went to school to get paid by the word. And now you have these solutions where people are saying, why would I pay a content writer when I can go to ChatGPT? And they say, well, you're essentially getting, at the moment, basically a soulless answer. It's an answer based on what it can find that it's fed into, which is great. But if you want to talk thinking outside the box and innovation, it's going to take some kind of human element, at least right now, in combination with that AI solution to really differentiate and come up with something novel. So we're at a pretty huge crossroads at the moment. For a while there, especially in revenue technology, I don't like to call it marketing technology because then I get a deaf ear from sales. And we're really at a moment in an organization where the delineation between sales and marketing and who owns what budget really should be gone. So from a revenue technology perspective, AI has been a buzzword right now for minimum 3 years, 4 years, but it's been kind of bastardized. They're just using it for marketing to sell a revenue technology product. Now we're at the point where we're leveraging true AI and learning models within there to drive things like AI solutions and chat on your website and the like. But policing it just can't be overlooked. And unfortunately, in this realm, where most marketing technology, if you go back to that, isn't championed by the people that buy it, say 75% of the tech stack is actually shelfware, that AI solution is either doing nothing or doing you more harm than good in that case. So it's tricky.
Yeah. I think it's the same of using any tool. You can use SEMrush, Ahrefs to find high volume keywords and try to create one more content when we have a million other pieces of content. So it's not a good idea to compete with Wikipedia, many other websites. And I found that people chase some value metrics like likes, comments, traffic, but it doesn't mean you can get sales. And once I spoke with webmaster who lost 400,000 traffic when Google dropped his website, but he didn't lose any sales. So he got this traffic, a lot of traffic, but this traffic didn't convert and he couldn't monetize this traffic. Can you tell how to unite your digital marketing strategy with revenue, with your customers' journey, buying persona?
It's funny. The 2 hours before this, I'm a huge whiteboard fan. So in my little plot of land here in the office, I'm just sitting. Fridays are dead. There's nobody here. And I'm just sitting there whiteboarding away around this same topic. I mean, a video, like I said, traditionally siloed realms. The birthplace foundation of this organization is primarily consumer, B2C. And then you have the developer following and then the exploding of GPUs into the B2B space. So we have a huge fan base amongst students, gamers, and the like. If you take those three realms and think of every workload and offering within the organization, just go to nvidia.com and click on products. How are you identifying a truly in-market organization for B2B in that crazy mix of people hitting the site? So we leverage predictive technology to actually, at minimum, do reverse IP matches against, companies, people that are still on VPN, their public address has been matched to that IP to try and actually identify, okay, you might have some vanity board metric, like in your case, you're saying 400,000 people hit the website. But then I have an industry person who's sad because she says only 400 people hit my telco page for the month. I go, yeah, but the 400,000 are a mix of students and fanboys and everything. They didn't go to the telco page. The telco page is boring to those individuals. The people who went to the telco page found it and got there on purpose. And if we identify that, it turns out 20 of the accounts that hit the page are actually truly in market. And so if I can report for B2B based on the in-market organizations hitting the site and daisy chain that to the target accounts that actually matter to sales, that's the most important thing rather than the old school. I used to call it vanity metrics. Now I understand we do need board level metrics. So the 400,000 is important, but in actuality, people freak out when you go from 400,000 to, hey, we had 20 in-market accounts hit the website. And they freak out. But then if I think, okay, if I'm able to close 10 to 20% of these people at an average starting contract value of X, I'm killing my numbers and I'm much more targeted. It trickles over into A/B testing. If you have, say, a digital team, it's amazing at what they do, hyper focused on conversion rate optimization, and they're running A/B tests. Just take one page, left side, right side, and they got two pieces of content, and they get a statistically significant result that says, okay, I get a 130% higher conversion rate on this CTA on the left side versus the right side. They're going to go with the left side. But if they're not in lockstep with sales, they're not logging into Salesforce or what have you, any awareness whatsoever of what's driving pipeline and what the accounts are, they may be shutting out the fact that that right side that has much less conversion is actually the pipeline driver in the end. And so it's a marrying point there. Where it gets complex is this massive ecosystem we have, where there are aspects to our organization that require awareness, essentially, brand awareness across overlapping B2B dev and B2C. In that case, you're going to want the 130% better converting rate. So how do you marry those two journeys essentially in this organization? It's been a constant work. It's my life's work at this point here. I tell my team, if you go from here to a company with one product, you're going to feel like a wizard.
Nice. Yeah, got it. Yeah, valuable. Let's talk about how to do the right marketing, because I see when people do sales, not marketing, they call this marketing, but I see sales. I don't see any marketing on that. They don't share value, don't try to help and support others, just try to sell products, don't think about customers, about their journey. And when they complain, I don't know what's going on, I can't get organic reach, I can't get results, and I check out, I see overselling, nothing special, non-unique, boring. Can you tell how to create the right content marketing strategy? Because I remember when Seth Godin said content marketing is one marketing left. So today you need to bring value, you need to help and support. And when people can get value many times, in the right time, they can buy from you. So any insights how to create the right strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. The backing up on that, leading with the data and fostering alignment between those two legacy, I don't even like saying at this point, but sales versus marketing sides of the house, you have to get that alignment around what that performance data is and look at the same data and be in lockstep on it. From that point in time, you branch out and say, okay, what are we using to actually convert, again, the in-market accounts, the valuable people, the target accounts that sales wants us to be in front of. More often than not, marketing from a content marketing perspective gets too hyper-focused on building too many assets. It ends up becoming this machine, or every quarter, we're going to generate X many ebooks and X many papers. We're going to chop up this webinar into these 5 other assets and keep building and building and building. And then you never have an apples to apples comparison, period over period, on what's actually working and what's not working. As well, you end up with a dumpster bin of a resource center. Everybody loves to showcase their resource center and all the ebooks and all the webinars. You tell me, when's the last time you spent hours trying to consume assets in some company's resource center? You just don't do it. Developers will for our educational material. Like, I need to learn better on an SDK or something I need to use. But in general, for B2B, it's just not the case. And marketers don't seem to understand that. The fact is, if I have a highly, highly converting front page asset, there is no reason I should swap that out in the following quarter, because the audience that's on my site right now, in market, BANT qualified, ready to buy, is not the same audience that's there a quarter from now. So if I know this thing's converting a bunch of people, why would I swap it out? And why would I keep just swapping it out for theme after theme after theme instead of focusing on how do I continue converting these accounts that matter to our sales organization?
Yeah. Let's talk about how to create the feeling of owning something. Once I watched the presentation of new Apple Watch when Tim Cook shared 3 stories. How can Apple Watch decide our problems? After that, I bought 3 pairs for me, for my son, for my wife, because they probably kill me if I do only for myself. But anyway, after watching this presentation, I got the feeling I need to have it. I wanna own it because this Apple Watch can decide my problems, simplify my life, and I got this feeling. Apple Watch, if I compare to many other smartwatches, cost more. But after getting this feeling, I didn't think about that. I just bought 3 pairs. So in B2B, it's the same. I get 100 emails a day. People who don't care about me, who don't know me, they send me guest posting service, link building, their tools. I have no time to check out. But sometimes when I get some messages, when people think about me, personalized message, and share benefits as fast as possible because I have no time to read long emails. So yeah, I think, oh my God, I need to check out this soft. It's interesting. I need to have this tool. Let me try it. Something like this. Can you tell how to create this feeling of owning something?
The big thing is Apple Watch marketing the watch is not a watch, right? It's something for your life that you need. It's not a watch because you don't need a watch, right? And I've got time on my phone. Why would I need a watch? So they hit that out of the park there. The personalization in email is interesting. Funny enough, this past week with March Madness, the whole basketball tournament starting up, I think a number of organizations went to the same webinar because I had 5 different organizations send me canned outreach sequences that said, oh, I saw you went to UCLA. I'm going to wager UCLA versus some random basketball team in the tournament. And whoever wins will buy the coffee for the event. 5 different organizations, same email. They must have all attended the same personalization course or some such. But it really sums up as robotic positioning. If you do a logo test, we talked about this when I ran demand generation at Automation Anywhere in the robotic process automation space, RPA. The logo test, where all these companies are saying the same thing when you just talk about the product. If you take the logo and the coloring and brand off the page, can you tell the difference? And for the most part, no, you can't. They're all saying the same rhetoric. They're all tracking the same keywords and trying to put the same keywords on the page. But in the end, why should I care about your product? The cliche is for the C-level executives and whatnot, making money, saving money, mitigating risk. But in the end, how's that summarized in the personalization and the messaging to me and the content offered to me? It's robotic positioning. It's essentially saying, no, I'm not selling a watch. I'm selling you something that'll allow you to save 50% of your day-to-day in tasks like other people in the SEO podcast realm, like this company. And once you hit that, you hit the pain point and quantification of that pain point, it's compelling versus, we even have a problem with it from time to time. Rah, my product's great. You should like it. We like it. And we know smart people out there will like it. So come like it and come buy it. That's not enough, especially as you said, when your inbox is getting peppered with people, with communication.
In B2B tools, I see, when people have habits, for example, I love using Ahrefs, SEMrush, tools that I know, Google Analytics, Search Console, Google Trends, name them, many great tools. But when I get a new tool and someone is asking me, please check out this tool, I usually have habit to use something that works for me. So it takes time to learn other tools. Can you tell how at that point to share benefits? Why your tool is standing out from the rest in short message? Because if you write long one, most messages will be ignored because people have no time. Busy people have no time to read long emails. But yeah, so any tips about that?
That's the leader on the page content, right? I mean, we have entire marketing groups that build industry specific pages and flavored pages and do all this work for quarters after quarters. Whereas when you're bootstrapping in a startup, as I've done in the past, all you really have to do is identify that particular account as being from that industry and just change the verbiage at the top. I know that sounds really cheap, but the rest of the page is exactly the same. The leader, the robotic positioning, the identification of that industry, and a relevant organization in the same space is so compelling. It doesn't matter what the rest of the page is. The rest of the page can be the same, but like you said, nobody has time for the most part to read all that content. And two, it's got to be compelling. So, from a predictive analytics standpoint, on the expensive end of things, if you're identifying people as being in market, it's not enough to be in market. When you talk about a fire model within a TAM, fit, intent, recency, and engagement, the important part of the engagement is actually clustering the keywords around the content people are actually consuming. So it's not enough that somebody researched NVIDIA, they researched DGX, they researched a couple things. I need to know the space they're in, the industry, the company size, employee size, and then relevant pain points they've been consuming content around as well. If I put that cluster together, then I have a personalized, call it an attack, but personalization aspect to that leader that's relevant for that person. And the difference there is, my favorite example is at Intact. We were there. It was a cloud financial company acquired by Sage, now a product within Sage. We had faith-based organizations in there. It wasn't until working at Intact that I realized what money megachurches are. But the fact is, when you talk accounting software, it's a pretty dry topic. But if you become the whale in a micro niche space, in a micro industry with relevant personalized messaging, you instantly differentiate yourself in a very targetable pool of people. So it's not cloud financial software at that point. It's cloud financial software for faith-based diocese and fiscal leaders. Very specific. So if they're looking at two other alternatives, no other alternative is talking to faith-based diocese and fiscal leaders. And it's going to stick. Like, I am looking at accounting software for my megachurch. These are the only people that talk that specifically to who I was, right to me. And then from an omni-channel experience, recognizing that the decision-making unit members are all going to vary. You might like opening emails. I might like clicking banner ads. It all has to exist. And the messaging has to be cohesive across that whole thing.
Nice. Love it. Okay, I'm interested about creativity. AI can't be creative because it's a great rewriting tool. Great tool because the grammar is the best, but it's not creative. It's not new. It's not special. And let me share a story about Lloyd Richards. He wrote a book. It's a famous story. He wrote a book 11 years ago. Published, but he couldn't sell this book. He got some sales, but not a lot. After 11 years spending time, money, resources in marketing, sales, he can't. Then his daughter posted content on TikTok with account with 0 followers about this book. Video became viral. 50 million people watched this video. Today, this book is the bestseller on Amazon. I watched this video. It's not the best nice looking design. It's simple design, but it's creative. So creative. I got, I like this video. It's interesting to watch. I don't care about design if I'm interested to watch. And I found a lot of content online are boring. Once I spoke with Jim Edwards. He worked in Business Insider 10 years. He started on this company from scratch. Then company was sold for $500 million. And he told me their success depends on creating non-boring content. Most content boring. If you take any business books, many can't tell any. Many business books are great for sleeping. When you read them, you can sleep well all night. You don't need medicine, pills, anything. Just take a new boring book. But some books are great. For example, if I read Joe Sugarman, he wrote a book about marketing 40 years ago. It's interesting. I love it. I can feel I'm part of the journey. Jack London wrote great books about adventure. I can forget about meal, about water, about sleep. I live on this book, So can you tell about creating non-boring content? Because most content are boring today.
Yeah, you said it. If you were to take a bunch of pages out of 5 different books, one of them is compelling, and you throw all the pages up in the air and they drop on the ground, good luck figuring out which goes to which book, because they're all going to sound the same. The difference there between that and, say, Jack London is actually appealing to human emotion and relevance, relevant to where we are today, the pain points we have today, the war that's going on in the world. There are so many people completely out of touch that they blindly market to people about their products with no thought whatsoever on the human emotion involved and where the target audience really is right now, and respectful or irrespectful of that. So the big thing's connecting at the human level. I think the people that do it wrong are the ones that go full bore into creative, but just to be creative without thinking about what's the connection here to the audience. Where things get difficult are in the larger organizations, say within NVIDIA. You have much more legal bindings to what you can do. It gets to be hard to break out of that stale mold. Whereas in the startup space, there's a lot more room for the free thinkers to actually, do novel, unique, thematic campaigns that either give people a reprieve from the boring day-to-day that they kind of have. Like at Cumulus, we had dinosaurs in the data center, and it was a hit. But again, did it drive pipeline, or did it just drive a bunch of people that wanted free dinosaur t-shirts? In the end, it's a matter of really staying professional, but connecting with that audience on their level, on what matters to them. And for most people, they've got enough going on in their world that anything that allows them to speed up what they're doing at less cost is going to resonate. And then to add the validation around samples from other known logos in the same space they are and quantify the results there, it's a win. The fun thematic things, 50 million TikTok viewers. She's going to have to get on a different platform, maybe in the US. I don't know, watching the politics going on. Those are fun. They're great for awareness. In the end, within a B2B organization, is it driving pipeline? Not as much that I've seen in the past. The ones that go full bore into like dinosaurs in the data center or cutesy names that we've had in the past organizations are great for awareness. But when it comes to the pipeline drivers, it all goes back to robotic positioning. And depending on the industry you're in, again, going back to financial software, the CFOs, sorry to the audience out there, but they can be a little stale. So if I have an organization with cutesy dinosaurs and all this stuff going on, and then I have something here with robotic positioning, talking about saving money, making money, getting your time back, cutting time to close on your financials by 50%, like these logos, that's going to resonate more. So it's a tricky balance between satisfying the fans and driving the pipeline.
Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm interested about this metric, return on investment. I found that many marketers calculate this metric wrong, so they just predict what kind of metrics they can get. Sometimes we don't need it. For me, it's hard to calculate the metric in organic reach because many things are coming, so we don't know. In paid marketing, simpler, but I think it's hard as well. So can you tell how to do it right, how to calculate this metric and know, for example, if I invest X amount of money, and I'm willing to get 2x or more. So any insights about that?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Legacy marketing is all about attribution, wanting to chest thump and say, "Look what I did." Especially as you get into paid, and then paid can be very difficult to explain to the organization, especially when you're talking about, say, cost per opportunity. I've been in organizations where cost per opportunity could be $13,000, $20,000. Shocking, right? Not if the lifetime value of that customer is $1 million minimum.
Yeah.
Then it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. So we have large media teams that are focused on, say, cost per lead, impressions, and the like. Those are important metrics to look at, but they're almost leading indicators. They shouldn't be considered as KPIs if you're talking about driving pipeline and revenue. For, again, the complicated ecosystem that we're in, my whole goal, my whole focus this year is the account and then ROI at an ecosystem level. Basically saying, okay, if I had $1 million in marketing budget, irrespective of where it went, this is what my throughput was from an account focus. Now, I say account focus because it's very important to understand that net new name to opportunity in a lot of organizations is going to be a fraction of the overall revenue when you take into account channel and partner and existing account relationships, and how is the sales teams actually handling setting up those opportunities, and did they tie the leads into the primary contact or not. But if you actually look at the accounts and say, okay, for this quarter, my close one revenue against these accounts was X, I can actually work backwards at minimum at campaign touches against those accounts, people are matched to those accounts, and say, okay, I actually touched across all these varying aspects. I actually had them touch all these varying areas of the website. I actually had them surge and in-marketness based on our predictive data. At that point, I can actually, from an ecosystem perspective, say what that $1 million in budget really affected. And then all things the same, I can work backwards and say I can give an index value to each lever within all that, where that paid money was actually used. And based on that index value, say, okay, if I put another $100,000 into the budget the next quarter, all things the same, I should, based on those index values, be able to predict that the output in account coverage and deriving that revenue will be X beyond where we were at. That's my current big model. Now, there's a lot of tools in the mix that really muddy things up. Everybody has a multi-touch attribution tool. I find it's good for an audit from now and then, but not as a single source of truth. Everybody has trying to strike it rich with a revenue platform. Again, another siloed metric point. But from a foundational aspect, to use your own data that you have in hand and bake it around the account from an ecosystem perspective, you get instant validation with sales. You're working within their environment with their data, and it's believable. Whereas a lot of multi-touch attribution, sales turns a blind eye to, and they're like, yeah, it's a marketer wanting to show they're actually doing something. We get it, fine. But from looking at a budget perspective, especially aligned with finance, $1 million in, X impact on the accounts that matter within the organization, there's no looking past that. And so that's a big focus for me right now as far as ROI goes. We still do traditional reporting, from a plumbing perspective, all my waterfall analysis and on a campaign by campaign basis. But if you look at nvidia.com and all the products in the mix, it's not hard to touch 3 different campaign managers programs in one visit to the website. So who gets the attribution? It shouldn't matter. In the end, what matters are the account touches and aligning those programs to the accounts that actually matter to sales.
Yeah, love it. Valuable. You remind me Bill Gates. He shared interesting point about how he divides marketing budget. For example, if he has product A and product B, after investing X amount of money to product A and product B, if product B sells 2 times more, then the next time he will invest all money to product B, ignoring product A. About priorities. Yeah. And I found that many companies don't understand this point. And for example, they share budget like, I don't know, like 20K please do SEO, paid marketing, many others. But sometimes you can lead all this money to one channel, or even in SEO we have many keywords. You can choose specific keywords that will provide results, then trying to cover everything, all channels. So can you tell how to choose priorities, how to find marketing channels that will provide much better results?
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. And I think most organizations, unfortunately, their quick fix is to throw more money at the problem. So you go into the year with product A and product B, and product A is lagging. So they think, oh, we need to triage this. So we're going to put more budget into product A because product B is self-sufficient, which isn't really the case. Sometimes you just have to own up to the fact that you made a mistake. Product A isn't selling. People either aren't ready for it or it's not the right fit. Focus on what's actually selling right now. Take that old fruit off the shelf and push the one that the people want. From a channel perspective, the big thing is actually, like everybody, we tag everything coming in so we can actually report on what platforms they came in from and then what became of those through the mix. It's important, again, to roll up to the account. If you look at it on a lead-by-lead basis, there's a good chance. A good example here would be the relationship between our developer and our B2B community. Developer are going to have a lot of people kicking the tires around SDKs and things before buying into a solution. Free SDKs, open source. There will be specific developer programs to support those people that have budget going to them. But if in silo, you look at that budget usage, regardless of what channel or platform you're using that's driving those programs, you're not seeing any revenue. Because the developers, we want to protect our developer community, and they're not the people that are going to be having the conversation with sales on the opportunity around some crazy implementation around a server or some such. So you won't, on the lead level, see that tie-in. So then people will come back and say, okay, we drove a bunch of stuff from Facebook and it didn't amount to anything. It was low CPL. We like the low CPL, so we'll use that for awareness. When in actuality, what you did was actually target the boots on the ground decision-making unit members within these accounts that actually matter to sales. So from the account focus, you can actually roll those touches up and then attribute that dollar value to it. The things that are lagging more often than not, I find, are a lack of omni-channel. So, I've had a conversation with somebody recently where we're talking about hitting the in-market accounts within a TAM and then blanket coverage in them. And their answer is, well, I'm going to start with Facebook first and then go from there. Like, no. You need to start with everything. Well, my budget is only this. It doesn't matter. If you're getting hyper-targeted, it's much more cost-effective. We have large campaigns here, but recently, we had an ABM campaign, ran against 15 target accounts, the heavy frequency cap. Again, not the best ROI, but being a display ad, but in the Coca-Cola model, to keep things within arm's reach of desire, just to have that messaging front center of people's day-to-day for 3 weeks against 15 target accounts, filtered on role, title, function, very specific, is $100-something. That's nothing. Yet when you try and convey that to an organization that's used to massive marketing budgets, they feel that because you're not spending enough, there's not going to be enough ROI out of it. When in actuality, you're in front of the accounts that matter to sales from that omni-channel perspective. So more often than not, if something's not working, it involves going in the guts of the system and seeing where the mess up is and targeting, or is it just a siloed application saying, I'm going to take all my money and throw it right on this channel right here and go from there. And then somebody else will pick these leads up. But the tie to me still is the account. The account will tell you everything, account-based reporting.
Nice, awesome. And my final question for students who are listening to this podcast, and I often get the question, how to learn from scratch. Even it helps to my customers, because I found I get much better results with someone who understands SEO, digital marketing, because we need to create like a cohesive team. SEOs, digital marketing specialists are not magicians. We can't provide results without content, without helping us. So, Ari, let's imagine you started from scratch without any experience, knowledge, skills. what will you do today to learn more about digital marketing?
That's exactly what I did. My undergrad was economics because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and then fell into marketing because I needed a job because I was doing military contracting and needed to get some money. And then the whole database aspect of marketing starting to creep up, and I like data, and so a lot of it was just learning by doing. And it's like any course, you go to school, let's say, and you come out with all these wild ideas, and I'm gonna change the world, and then you go into an organization and find out why you can't do most of those things. The first thing to get to is I find conferences are very, very important for actually rubbing elbows with and sharing minds and learning things from people. A lot of the conferences you can find out there can be free to attend, user groups and the like, and you get people that have heavy domain experience in those realms. The other is just sit in front of a whiteboard and keep at it. It's my favorite thing. The problem is for all the people out there that follow key gurus in the realm. Have you ever used Waze, right, for traffic, the application? So there's an
No.
app. Okay, there's an app local here, Waze. Think of any traffic app.
Mm-hmm.
You're stuck in traffic on the freeway, right? And then all the
Wait, yeah, I use
yeah,
it. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
app calculates, oh, there's a shortcut. Use the next
Mm-hmm.
exit. And you
Yeah.
see 10 cars in front of you now all trying to get the exit at the same
Yeah.
time. When you were the only one using Waze, it was a win. It was beneficial. Now that everybody's on Waze, it kills it. And so when it comes to trying to, outbeat your competitor and the like, everybody attending the same session with the same guru, going out and doing the same thing, aren't differentiating in any way whatsoever. So I think starting from scratch, the big thing is key books. Marketing Warfare, great book. I will always go back to Crossing the Chasm, as dated as it is, and thinking beyond that, in combination with, like this SEO course, other user groups, and then getting in front of a whiteboard and saying, okay, if I daisy chain together these aspects of my organization, what's my existing ecosystem and what's missing? Where are the gaps? The biggest gap's always going to be the data. So from a foundation perspective, if you can't say end to end what's going on in that account and lead funnel, you start there from scratch. And then you worry about the fancy tools and building stuff on top of that. But if you win it from a data perspective, you're going to be one of the only people in the organization that understands that data. And you're going to be one of the only people in the organization that has validation and will be listened to because people will trust you in the end. So marry yourself to the data.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more with that. I think I remember when someone asked me if I listen all your episodes on podcast, can I become a great marketer? I told, no, you can't. You can't because it's not like to learn everything that you can get. I can learn a teeny percent of new publications, books, because I'm so busy with practice. For me, practice is more important than over learning. So you can overlearn, but you can forget. People forget fast. I usually, I don't know, you can learn something new and forget for a few days. I can forget for a few hours, for a few minutes. Just tell me. That's why I usually make notes. I can share on social media. So yeah, practice is more important than learning. I agree.
It's gonna be different wherever you are too. I tell people all the time, beware the marketer that shows up fresh to an organization with a playbook and says, this is what we're gonna do. And they don't dumpster dive the existing data and the existing everything before deciding on what actions the organization should be doing. That's a big red flag.
Nice. Ari, it's a big pleasure to get in my show, to learn from you. Tell our audience the best way how to keep learning from you, how to follow you, how to reach out to you.
Look me up on LinkedIn. I don't know if it's in the profile or you can drop it in the chat, but the best thing is I connect on LinkedIn with everybody. I find the more people we talk to, the more we learn from. The conferences I speak at, I like connecting with the audience members who think they're learning from me. Meanwhile, I'm actually learning from them. LinkedIn's the best spot for me.
Guys, you can find the link to LinkedIn profile in the description below. Listen us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Thanks again for your time. A big pleasure. Love it. So valuable. Thanks, guys, for listening and watching us.